I also do a video series which started on Cracked called Hate by Numbers. I usually look more like that, like behind the bar, where I take a clip and I break it down and I say things that, the original title for the show were X things that piss me off about why. And they wanted me to keep that title. I'm like, not very catchy because the number of things that piss me off will change each week. Let's call it Hate by Numbers. And the last reason you may know me is Notes from the Infinite Apocalypse is a serialized novella I did on Cracked. I hope that you'll be able to buy it as a full-length novel in the coming year. I'll be doing a short reading, very short, a few pages from the full-length novel at the end of the presentation, and then I'll be happy to take questions. So, oh, that's the last thing I am, for those of you who know. That's pretty cool. Everyone knows Doctor Who, okay. Okay. So why write for the internet? The money is usually bad. Depending on where you're writing and what you're writing, the exposure can be very minimal. And as that says, most people can't read. Incredibly, even people who can actually write comments seem to be the most incapable of reading, which you'll find. But it can lead to better things. What? Friends. You make all sorts of friends online, real jobs, more writing opportunities, better writing opportunities, and of course, right here. So it all came together full circle. Billy D. Williams, I think, will be here in the next hour. So that's exciting. So just sit tight through my garbage, and then real entertainment will happen. Okay, if you want to write online, how do you find where to write, and how do you find how to submit? When I was in college, there was no internet, or maybe it was being invented somewhere in a government basement, but it was really hard. Publishing was, you'd send these letters, and they would take 4 weeks to get back, and then you'd get a boilerplate rejection, and going into publishing meant, I don't know, making photocopies in some publishing house and hopefully moving up. The internet makes everything much easier. Most of the sites that you read will want submissions from people. And people say, well, how do I do it? How do I know? So many people, how do I even submit to Cracked? Well, on Cracked, there, on the home page, it says, write for Cracked. Click that. Almost any site that takes submission has that. And you'd be surprised how many people who want to write for publications don't take the time to actually just click that link and read it. So that's the first thing. Because if you want to submit to a publication, you have to learn their rules. If they want your phone number and your email, give them your phone number and your email. If they want it in a certain font, give it in that font. Do exactly what they say, or instantly they won't take you seriously. A friend of mine is the, does anyone know a website called McSweeney's? McSweeney's? Okay, so a friend of mine, Chris Monks, is the web editor for that. And I said, what do you want me to tell people about submissions? He said, tell them to just read the rules. Just put it in the form we ask for. And if you get past that first hurdle, the next most important thing is learning the voice. Today, with the internet, everyone has a blog, they have a Tumblr, they love to be Twitter famous, and that's all great. And that's a way to develop your voice. But if you're submitting to other publications, they already have a voice. They already have a specific kind of content they want. You have to learn that voice. To submit to, it doesn't matter if, by the way, I should take a step back. I do comedy writing, so yes, there will be a bias towards comedy writing. But what I'm saying can be applied to any kind of writing for the internet. Science fiction publications, even non-fiction publications. They have a voice, they have a subject matter they're interested in. Obviously, with something like Cracked, they're all about the list form, historical, pop culture, scientific, did you know something? Something that you could read easily online, in list form, see your friend at the office or at school next day, tell them something interesting before class starts or at the coffee break, and then you don't have to tell them you got it from Cracked, right? And then you just look that much smarter. McSweeney's loves to be esoteric and wise. They might take Franz Kafka or a philosopher and say, what would he be like in line at a Starbucks? This is their bread and butter. This is what they're known for. So learn the voice. You don't want to look at the things that you like on a website that are like the exception to what they do normally. Oh, I have this piece that's kind of like this thing you did once. Maybe you want to look at it. If you're looking to get your foot in the door, you want to deliver exactly what they do 90% of the time. So those are the do's. The don'ts. I hear from my friends that he'll reject something from McSweeney's and people will complain. I'll tell him he's wrong. But that got like 10 shares on my Tumblr. My friends think it's really funny. Don't do that. That you just lose credibility. We all have things that we think are really funny that no one likes. I mean, some of my favorite pieces have never, ever been published. So just take it as a constructive way. And if you have a chance to ask someone from a website to read your work, be specific. Show him or her the piece that makes sense, that's most like the publication that they're involved with. I've done that for people. I've read submissions. I've looked at things and given people advice, and that's fine. Not everyone will do that. Some people will take advantage of that. But don't say, will you read my blog? You know, will you read this thing that's 20 pieces, 40 pieces, and find the thing that you like? You make yourself look far more professional if you show that you've done the work on your end. I know your site. I know what you're looking for. I have this piece that I think fits in. What do you think? And then, thank you so much. This is my first Canadian water, so I hope it works out well for me. I already embarrassed myself in the gift store. I bought some knickknacks, and I was supposed to get like $11 of change, and they gave me a 5 and a bunch of change, and I was like, yeah, excuse me, oh, these things are dollars. It's very embarrassing. Tony's? What do you call it?
Toonies.
Toonies, and then a loony is a...
Toonie
that was
loony.
the thing too. I had a drink at a bar. You know, a bucket drink is a normal thing to do, you know. So I got my Jameson Rocks, I was giving him a bucket drink. But to do it with a loony, that was just like, bling! That's still a normal tip, right? Bucket drink is normal, loony a drink. But my mom said you could have this. All right, so I'm coming to the close of this before I'll do the reading and take questions. But don't be lazy is a big tip. So what's lazy? And this is from humor perspective. The internet loves memes. You find a way of making a joke, and then you just do that, and you think it counts as a joke. So this is dying away, but like 5 years ago, all over the internet, there were what I call strike-throughs. So how do I explain that? So like a really cheap way, you know, you're talking about Mitt Romney who's running for president, they might be like, you know, slimy multimillionaire D-bag, oh, strike out, you can see the line through it, a respectable presidential candidate. It's just like a cheap joke. It just takes mere sarcasm and just drops it down like another 5 levels in the circle of hell. Not so much, you know, that's fine, we all say that, but that's not a joke. Don't do that anymore. You know it's not funny because it's whatever's coming out of Anderson Cooper's mouth. He does all of these all the time because someone told him that's what humor is, and he took it into his cyborg brain and he just spits it out. So you know, oh, good day, not so much. No, best thing every night, best coffee ever. Points. You know, I say don't do this, and even on a successful website like Cracked, you can still see these things happening. In fact, the next one I've done myself, the Blanky McSomething, you know, like, I refer to Mitt Romney as Blandy McReagan face, but it's, yeah, because it's funny, but it's cheap funny. So you can get away with it, but you don't want to lead with that, not with a submission, because then all you're really teaching them is that, you know, you've learned the things that even someone as unfunny as Anderson Cooper knows how to make as a joke. And the best example of lazy writing is really anything this man writes. That's my friend Adam Todd Brown from Cracked. He's actually one of my favorite writers, and I like making fun of him. Because he told everyone falsely that my first name is Marion. Not true. Not even vaguely true. I have proof. I'll show you my driver's license if you come by later. The last thing is network. And again, I wouldn't have known how to begin to do this 10 years ago. Because of the internet, it all happened accidentally. And I can explain. Like about 10 years ago, I started writing online. And I read other people's stuff, and I read things they liked, and I just wrote, hey, I really liked your piece. Oh, really? I liked your piece too. And a weird thing happened. I met like all my best friends, like when I was like already in my late 20s. I started meeting people that I first really, really liked. I hung around with musicians, didn't like them, not so much. You know, or business people, or even creative writers, theater people. It didn't click, but humor writers I did. And the only thing I can like even compare it to is, you hear these stories about men who like live their whole life, and they get married, and they have 3 kids, and then suddenly one day they realize they're gay, and they just want to be gay all the time. That's how it was with me with humor writing, you know, without the gay part. But I was like, oh my God, I'm a humor writer. I should just hang out with humor writers, and we should talk about writing jokes and go to raves. Twitter is a great way to do that. I mean, whatever you think of Twitter, and I think of all sorts of hateful things to do it. I've met a bunch of people that I have similar sensibilities with through Twitter. So you write something, promote it. Plenty of people think self-promotion is cheap, and it's unseemly, and maybe they're right, but as far as I'm concerned, they're totally wrong, and I don't care. I will shamelessly promote anything I do all the time, because the people who don't like it will not care and not listen and go away, and the people who do like it will say, thank you, I wanted to know that. And then you amass a group of people who like what you're promoting. So I don't think anyone gets hurt. And I disagree completely with anyone who says, don't read the comments. And I disagree completely with anyone who says, oh, well, you know, put it out there, but don't tell people about it. Tell people about it and read every comment you can. It's up to you to know what you think is good and not good. If you know what you feel about a piece and someone says, it stinks because of X, you'll say, well, that person is wrong. And if someone says, it's good because of X, and they miss the point, you'll know that person is wrong. If someone says it's good because of X and they agree with you, great, that makes your day, you're happy. And the reason I say read comments is, you wade through the 95% of garbage, and you find the one person who says something negative, but who's right. And that's what you can learn from. There's an old saying, there's 4 kinds of people in the world: people who like you for the wrong reasons, people who like you for the right reasons, people who dislike you for the wrong reasons, and people who dislike you for the right reasons. And it's only the last kind of people that you have to worry about. And that's kind of my philosophy, and that's why I read comments. If you know who you are and what you're about, all the other stuff washes off your back, and you can learn something from the people who have something intelligent but negative to say. And so that's part of, not really networking, but I think it's good, and the internet makes it so easy to put yourself in the mix. So, yeah, here's the deal. I'm going to read you a small part from my forthcoming novel, Notes from the Internet Apocalypse. Short, don't worry. And then I'll take questions and hopefully be helpful. But has anyone read When This Ran on Cracked in novella form? Did anyone read it? Oh, what's that? No one's filming the audience, right? So that's about 3 to 4